It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon. This is Rubbin Minds. Welcome. My name is Obiuche, and glad to be here with you today. As usual, we'll have a very interesting show for you ahead. But before that, we'd like to do something we call, the week in review, where we look at the news and things that have been in the headlines over the past week. And of course, we have to start with what has been the most burning issue in Nigeria in the last, probably one of the most. I mean, since terrorism and insecurity has also been topping the news. But I want to talk about Ebola to start with. It looks like Nigeria might just be free of this virus for now. According to the Minister of Health, we don't have any more cases in Nigeria. A few people are still under surveillance, but none of them have tested positive to anything. There were a few scares during the week. A student who had traveled from Port to Ife, and a South African who was in transit from Guinea, I think. They were both scared, but they both returned negative with their tests. So hopefully this is the end for now, at least, to this virus which has ravaged Nigeria and has sort of scared everybody, especially people in Lagos and parts of Port Harcourt, seriously. We don't know if Liberia's case still looks very, very, very bad, and still that it's a West African country and we have open skies and open borders arrangement. We don't know what might be coming in anytime soon. There's Liberia, there's Sierra Leone, there's Guinea. We hope that the authorities at the airports and at the borders will be very vigilant this time so that we don't have a repeat of what happened and what cost a lot of us a lot of fears in the last couple of months. Schools are still in the news. A lot of people are not sure if schools are supposed to resume or not. But we're going to talk about all of that extensively on the show today while we're discussing the Ebola virus. So I'm just going to leave that and talk about the schools and all of that much later. Moving on now to security, or the lack of it. Fighting continues to rage in the northeastern part of Nigeria. We continue to hear conflicting reports about towns and cities being claimed and reclaimed. I know we did hear recently that the Nigerian military had killed about 100 militants in Konduga. It's a town that's about 35 kilometers away from Maiduguri, and they had reclaimed that city. So we know that they're fighting very hard to keep our territory and our sovereignty intact as a nation. But we also, the fact that we hear a lot of these reports, especially from indigenes, about not being sure who's in control of these places, leaves a lot to be desired. We also woke up this morning to hear that a jet of the Nigerian Air Force has gone missing with the 2 pilots in it. Apparently, I think it's the only jet that was deployed to fight in the northeastern part of Nigeria since terrorism activities broke out there. So we don't know what's happened to the plane, if it's crashed or if it was seized, or but we'll look in the week ahead to find answers to that from the military. Hopefully nothing too scary has happened, but we'll continue to support our troops here, and hopefully they will give us some sort of peace, at least as the year continues to draw to a close. Moving on now to some politics. The last time we were here, only the PDP had found their candidates or had nominated their candidates for the Adamawa elections coming up, Ahmadu Fintiri, but the APC have done the same as well, and Senator Jibrila won the primaries there. So it looks like it's going to be quite a tough fight between 2 legislators, one a Speaker of the House, or a former Speaker of the House, one a sitting senator in the Federal Republic from Adamawa State. Nobody's quite sure how that election is going to pan out. But most importantly for me, it's like a final test for INEC to see how ready they are for February. So we'll be keeping very close eyes on that particular one and see how things turn out. And finally now to some sports, probably one of the toughest week Nigerian football fans have witnessed in a long time, losing to Congo and drawing with South Africa. We are third on our table. We are not sure if we're going to qualify for the Nations Cup as things stand. The NFF crisis seems to have calmed down at least, but we still are not sure about what the elections that are supposed to hold in the week ahead is going to come up with. We don't even know what's happening with the coaching situation, if Stephen Keshi is going to be retained, or if we're going to get a new coach. So a lot of trouble still going on with the Nigerian Football Federation or Association. I don't even know what they're called these days. And a lot of that seems to be affecting the Super Eagles. We do hope that things get fixed before the next qualifiers come up against Sudan and South Africa and Congo. But that's it for now. We're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking Ebola and the way forward for Nigeria. Please stay with us.
We represent. What else?
Welcome back. Now, the Ebola virus disease has been one of the most talked about issues in Nigeria in the last couple of weeks or months even. And it looks like things might be settling down a bit now, but we're going to find out more about the issues and, of course, talking about how that affects schools and the controversies with resumption dates. I have here with me Chief Yomi Otubela, President Proprietors of Private Schools in Lagos State. Thanks for being here today, sir.
Welcome.
And Dr. Abraham Idokoko of the Ebola Emergency Room. Thanks for being here today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Okay, let me start with you now. The health minister did say that it looks like we don't have any more cases in Nigeria as things stand, but the people are still under surveillance. Most people confuse surveillance for being, positive. Let's explain that situation quickly.
Yeah, the minister rightly said so 2 days ago that there are no more cases of Ebola in Nigeria under treatment. And when we say people are under surveillance, these are contacts, people who were in the vicinity of a person who had the disease or was suspected to have had the disease. So they are not people who already have the disease. So we watch them over within the incubation period. It is
about 21 days, I think.
Yeah, usually 2 to 21 days, within which if the person do not develop symptoms of the disease, we can say the person is free of the disease and let them off. So when we say people are under surveillance, it means that they are under watch, usually either in the community or in the center. So for most of them, they are in the community and they are not persons with the disease. So there are no persons with the disease right now within the Nigeria boundaries.
Yeah.
So, but these persons under surveillance have been contacted. They watch them up to a few days until we're sure they don't have the developed symptoms.
Yeah. Chief Otubela, in all of this now, I think the one thing that Nigerians sort of in all of this fear have sort of failed to recognize is the fact that we have sort of done a good job, if I may use that word, with curtailing this, seeing how things have panned out in other countries with Guinea and Sierra Leone and especially Liberia, how things have continued to deteriorate. So we have to commend the authorities here for the way they handle things.
Exactly. I think especially that of Nigerian Ministry of Health and the officials, that of Lagos State Governor and his team, the Commissioner of Health and that of Special Advisor to Public Health. They have been fantastic and
the River State government.
They've been on top of the issues.
Yes.
And it's quite commendable. And also, that has resulted to the success we have recorded here in Nigeria. We are happy that not only that we have been able to combat the disease, we have also been able to inform the populace on way to prevent the spread of the disease among the citizens. What little thing I think I would suggest we do more is to play the big brother role that Nigerians stand for in Africa as a whole. We need to move into these neighboring countries that have been affected. Since they don't have the technical know-how and the materials compared to what Nigeria could present, if we could cure it right from there, then we can say Nigeria is thoroughly free of Ebola. As we are here now, we are free. We don't have any confirmed case, but we can tell.
Still at risk.
The border are still open, the seaport, the airport are still open to visitors, and we are still at risk.
Yeah, that's something I want to talk about now. A country like Gambia, I think, completely have closed airlines from Nigeria coming in, I think. And we're supposed to have a game with them, and they didn't let our players go in and all of that.
That's Gabon.
Gabon, sorry. Yeah, I knew I was getting it wrong. So why should Nigeria toe that route, seeing that the two scares we've had, first one was confirmed, Mr. Patrick Sawyer came in. We had one the past week, which was South African, which thankfully was negative. Have all been issues of people coming from countries of these affected. Should we go down that route and close the borders?
I don't think we have to go that route. We've done it before because this is a public health emergency of international concern, the Ebola situation. Under international health regulations, you want to do all within your power to control the disease without restricting international movement of persons or trade. So as it is, we do know that within the normal structure, there is a port health service which can actually guard our borders from screen when as necessary to ensure that persons with this disease do not come into the country. So I think it's counterproductive economic-wise for you to close down your borders because there is a scare of a disease in another country. What you need to do is to strengthen your port health services to be able to screen passengers as they come in. Of course, you put your warning everywhere you carry along the people in the aviation industry to ensure that they do what's necessary on board. And then the countries from where these people are coming from do need to cooperate in the sense that they need to also screen their outbound passengers, like from the countries where the disease is ravaging the population. The outbound passengers should be screened such that persons who have the disease or have a history of having been in contact with a person who had the disease do not get on board to another destination until he or she is certified free of that disease. So if that is done, should be no reason why the government should restrict travel, except it's get beyond this when people deliberately get on board and bring the disease here.
Since